Alright, this is part 3 of 3, but it can also work as a standalone if you're not a YouTube rep and just want to see my commentary on how the PR department at YouTube thinks their code works. Spoilers, it's complicated.
As a creator, you've probably asked yourself questions like, how does YouTube choose what videos to promote?
They obviously automate the process with a complex software developed internally for specifically that purpose.
Does getting a yellow icon impact my video discovery?
I'll touch on this later, but including monetization as a metric would break more than it would help.
And how important are tags?
My data shows that tags have been deprecated to a noticeable degree, if not entirely. I would honestly be surprised if they did anything at all. Akin to the dislike button, past abuses, when they were a significant part of the system, simply led to the most rational solution being to quietly deactivate them.
In this video, we'll walk you through all those questions and more about YouTube's search and discovery system and give you some video discovery tips. Let's dive in. First, how does YouTube choose what videos to promote? Whether it's on the YouTube homepage, search, or suggested, YouTube's recommendation system actually finds videos for viewers rather than viewers for videos.
Indeed, that is exactly the idea behind the system, and in theory, is the ideal for the end user. In this case, that would be the viewer, to have an optimal experience. Unfortunately, there is currently no world where even our most advanced generative AI technologies will be able to execute this perfectly. I'll hold off for a bit to get more in-depth than that.
Videos don't get pushed out or promoted by the algorithm, but rather pulled for each user when they visit YouTube. The goal of the search and discovery system is to match each viewer with the videos they're most likely to watch and enjoy.
Exactly. That is the goal, and while it is a completely reasonable goal, the current execution doesn't do this. Legitimately, everyone I talk to has the same issue of scrolling through their feed, skipping video after video, and even if the viewer clicks the I don't like this recommendation button, they continue to be recommended similar videos that they don't want to see. Humans are, to a degree, habitual creatures. It makes sense that presenting them with content similar to the videos they engage with will be in service to the goal. Unfortunately, it appears based on my data, YouTube systems expect the entire lists of interests that make up one person to be in line with any other given person engaging with the same content. Even if the system only considers the videos that particular user or account has watched in the past, there appears to be no way for YouTube's code to identify roughly where in the person's list of interests that viewer is, even after watching several videos in one session. This is especially egregious in situations where multiple people use the same account. An example, my mother and her 2 grandchildren, one of which is a toddler, who each have very distinct interests on the platform.
So every viewer's recommendations will look a little bit different.
As they should.
Videos are ranked based on hundreds of signals that largely fall under 2 categories: viewer personalization and video performance.
Oh, this needs such a huge asterisk behind it.
Viewer personalization is based on signals about a given user's preferences, such as what videos they choose to watch, what videos they ignore, what videos they dismiss.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there for a second. I have yet to confirm anything, but I have been met with many situations where I wondered at length what exactly would make the system think a video was being ignored or enjoyed. Especially in a world where such a massive number of people have YouTube on their phone throughout their day. It is essentially impossible to teach a software program to identify the difference between, do I want to watch this now or later? Oh, I didn't mean to refresh the list. I'll come back if nothing else looks interesting. Oops, I almost dropped my phone and started playing this video. Why is this even being recommended to me? Ad infinitum. There's no way to know what's going through a person's mind as they scroll through their feed. I would absolutely, though, be curious to speak with one of YouTube's actual techs just to discuss the theory behind like how your system applies weights to irrational behavior or life happening or the two happening at the same time. How many people have fallen asleep listening to something and then woken up with some random video playing that they would have never clicked on? I have so many questions and insufficient data on this topic. I know I've certainly played videos by accident in my pocket, so how do you tell the difference between those and the ones I wanted to watch? As far as the videos being dismissed, I know based on my data that YouTube heavily punishes videos that are clicked and then swiftly moved away from. This is an obvious and incredibly powerful tool to fight against clickbait. My only concern here is when it is combined with the prior points, especially for really small channels. This returns to my prior example of accidentally clicking a video, then exiting after you realize it's in your pocket playing. That doesn't necessarily mean I don't want to watch it once I'm home. Life is too chaotic for anything to be so simple. So there would need to be a lot of thought put into any of these data points as they're being collected, before they're being submitted into the code, as well as after the results are popped out of the code. The trickiest part, as far as I can imagine, is trying to sift between anomalies from life, user interests, because people are complex creatures, and code that just does what it's told with a limited scope of quality control, or worse, deciding for itself what it's supposed to do in a black box setup where the programmers don't have direct observation or adjustment of the system.
How often someone watches a channel or topic, and much more. Our systems also consider video performance.
I would hope with a significantly higher weight than viewership patterns. Video performance is just numbers. And at the very least, raw numbers and statistics are so much easier and less chaotic for software to parse than hypothetical behavioral patterns.
Which is how well the content engaged viewers when it was offered to them.
And this, again, would be fine as long as there were very, very solid controls on what is and is not considered positive or negative engagement within the understanding of everything I've already mentioned and more.
For example, do viewers choose to watch the video, ignore it, or click not interested?
Yeah, that's the problem. Two of those three are incredibly valid. Code can easily understand user X watched this video for 15 minutes of the total 20-minute duration. Code can easily understand user X has entered a direct series of inputs indicating they are not interested in this video. Code cannot, however, easily understand or interpret anything that could potentially be ignoring a video. Like, honestly, even people couldn't easily judge what is or isn't going through a person's mind while they scroll through their feed, unless they're actively watching the person as they're interacting with YouTube.
If they choose to watch it, how long and how much of the video do they watch? Here, our systems use the video's average view duration and average percent viewed as signals to inform ranking.
Yeah, 100%. This is the most easily implemented part of an automated system. And what I find really interesting is it's also the hypothetically least abusable aspect of YouTube metrics that I can think of.
And finally, did the viewer enjoy the video? We measure satisfaction using a variety of signals such as user surveys and likes.
Okay, are you telling me that hypothetically, if 10% of my subscribers, which at present would be approximately 150 people, watch one of my videos, that you're potentially going to drop a survey, and if 1% of them responded, this would be 1 to 2 people in this example, that you're going to assess how well the video was a match for all of my subscribers based on 0.1% of my subscribers? I mean, this would be even more problematic if it wasn't even the channel's subscribers, if it was just viewers from the wild. I mean, please tell me there's at least a threshold of volume before that method is even remotely thought about being used. And as far as likes go, it's worth noting that the system is way too bloated to be a reliable data point. I mean, first, it requires a call to action, which only a small subset of people are going to engage with, which gets even more complicated when you start considering the age and diversity of the viewership. Then there's the fact that YouTube keeps history of every video you've ever liked. So people like me have gone through and unliked every video they've ever liked and refused to like new videos. You already have a save for later functionality, so the like system should be reduced to the simplest form that it possibly can be. And honestly, as much as some people are going to hate for me to say this, the most efficient data gathering tool would be a pop-up, "Did you like this video?" implemented in a very similar manner to the "Are you still watching?" pop-up that happens when watching or listening to several videos in a row. Again, the concept and goal are perfectly fine, but the execution undermines the reliability of the data being gathered.
Using these signals helps our systems narrow down the best set of videos to offer each viewer.
And if the data sets were clean, the users were one-dimensional creatures, and the system was excellently tailored with dynamic weights to adjust for all possible situations, it would be perfect. If being the operant word.
Creators often ask, what kind of videos does the algorithm like best?
Alright, quick hypothetical. You have a child ask you what project will win their local science fair. First off, that does not mean that most children are only competing in the science fair to win. Second, and more importantly, that is a child who isn't actually asking about making a good science fair project. This does not mean you ignore the child, but rather you ponder why that particular child is asking that particular question, and with the understanding that the idea had to come from somewhere, you have to consider influences to the mindset that prompted the question. This could be the result of frustration at always doing very poorly in prior science fairs regardless of how much effort was put in. It could be external influences, like if they don't care about the science fair at all and they just want the grand prize for winning the science fair. Or I could keep going with any number of hypotheticals. This is a long-winded thought experiment, sure, but hopefully you're starting to look at this question again and realizing its existence is more multifaceted in and of itself than your explanations thus far seem to realize that people are. Welcome to reality.
But our systems have no opinion about what type of video you make and don't favor any particular format.
That is poorly worded at best and entirely false at worst. Every formula handling datasets must account for discrepancies, deviations, anomalies, and other situations, meaning that any system of sufficient complexity is going to favor something based on various components of the maths and formulas used in the system. There is no way that your entire system has no weighting of data and variables going on. There is no way that the metrics you measure don't favor some specific type of behavior over another. Does it legitimately count a person watching 1 minute of a video every week until they've watched all 10 minutes over the course of 2.5 months, the same as someone watching the full 10 minutes in one sitting? Does it favor someone watching 5 minutes of that 10-minute video in one sitting, then never finishing it over the same weird 1 minute per week viewership? Maybe, maybe not. But it is necessary to realize your programmers had to make decisions when designing the system. Those decisions mean that not all data is perfectly in balance. If there was no consideration of edge cases or humans being human, there will still be discrepancies handling different data points. Those discrepancies, even if properly adjusted with a holistic view of the systems, will still cause the system to promote some type of content over some other type of content, even if only slightly. That said, of course, you're not going to tell the general public and all content creators exactly how your weights and data work in your code. That would be foolish and short-sighted. But this statement is just fancy PR smoke and mirrors to say, we're not going to tell you what specific data matters or to what degree. Just be honest. The full truth can even say that directly, especially if the statement ends with a reasonable justification like, or bad actors would immediately use that information to create new ways to abuse the system and make things worse for legitimate creators and YouTube as a whole.
Rather, they try to follow the audience.
The ending to that sentence worries me. Maybe this is why videos about North Korea are suggesting my video game channel that avoids anything remotely related to the real world, especially current events. Makes you wonder.
So instead of worrying about being an expert in algorithms or analytics,
Worried? This is fun for me. I am a total robot at heart.
focus on knowing your audience and what they like.
This, sadly, is the most true statement in the entire video. You really do have to focus just on your audience and what they like. Because unless enough of your subscribers watch a thing, it's dead. If you spent a week on something ambitious and high quality, well, you better make a full new channel to try something other than the exact thing your subscribers want. Alternatively, go to TikTok or Twitch and just make content about whatever you feel like, and it's all good. Pandering tends to create kitsch art. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's kitsch. Which, it's fine for most content creators on your platform, but worth keeping in mind that your systems dictate what type of content will be most successful and what will suffer, even if their quality is equal.
Next, does changing a video's title or thumbnail re-rank the video in the algorithm? Yes, it can, but it's only because our systems are responding to how viewers are interacting with your video differently, rather than the act of changing the video title or thumbnail. When your video looks different to viewers, it changes how viewers interact with it when it's offered to them. Changing your video title and thumbnail can be an effective way to get more views, but if your video is already doing well, don't change what's working.
Okay, this is a weird statement. Like, full stop. Unless you're telling me that changing the title and or thumbnail is going to dump all the previous data it had, it is not re-ranking. It's just applying the same formula and adjusting based on the same old data while considering the new data over time. Unless new data is significantly more valuable to your system than old data, which would make some of my experiences and conversations with other small channels even more alarming. And if it does dump all the data and treat it as a new video, well then, we really need to talk about some abuse cases that could result. Like, I'm not scummy enough to experiment with intentionally breaking the system, even if for science, since I have been testing and gathering data for legitimate use of YouTube, not to trick or cheat for internet points.
If one of my videos underperforms, is that going to hurt my channel? What matters is how viewers respond to each video when it's recommended to them. Our systems rely more on video and audience level signals to decide which videos are the best recommendations for your audience.
Okay, sadly, this seems to be focused a little bit too much in the system, at least for smaller channels. So, unless you literally only make one specific type of content, you'll find yourself putting time and effort into videos that are dead on arrival, since they're not the content your subscribers subscribed for. And based on the previous points made in the video, the people who watch your channel are going to be the first who are recommended your videos. But I've already touched on this multiple times. Also, this statement is a half answer, especially if the intent behind the question is, will I be punished for experimenting with new content and ideas? To which the answer is a solid, not if your subscribers like it.
What can lead to a decline in overall channel views is people's interests changing over time, or when viewers stop watching most of your videos when they're recommended to them.
I don't feel like I need to repeat myself again here.
Does monetization status like the yellow icon impact my video discovery? No. Our search and recommendation system doesn't know which videos are monetized and which are not. We focus on recommending videos your audience will find satisfying regardless of whether they're monetized.
Yeah, that tracks. It would actually be so much more work to also somehow stick profitability into an already excessively complex system, and would likely create a whole host of problems that would lose YouTube money if they attempted it.
But if your video contains racy, violent, or other graphic content, it could be demonetized as it's not suitable for all advertisers. It may also not be recommended to as many viewers because it's not appropriate for all audiences.
No complaint from me here.
Do I need to upload daily or at least once a week? No. We've done analyses over the years and find that growth in views across uploads is not correlated with time between uploads. Many creators have established reliable connections with their audience through quality over quantity. We encourage you to take care of yourself to prevent burnout, which is important for your audience and your well-being.
My data has also completely corroborated this point. See, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, I'm just trying to help.
Why are my views lower than my subscriber count? The number of people subscribed to your channel doesn't represent the number of viewers choosing to watch your videos. On average, viewers subscribe to dozens of channels and may not return for every new upload for every channel they're subscribed to. It's also common for viewers to be subscribed to channels they no longer watch. So instead, focus on the audience that's actually watching your content using YouTube Analytics, which can help you find out who's watching and what's working well or not.
All right, facts. Except, I don't believe that's what the question is asking. At all. I don't think there's a single person making YouTube videos that expects 100% of their subscribers to watch their videos, even if they specifically know nothing about funneling or marketing basics or advanced. This is confusion at the cycle of subscribers don't watch videos, thus video impressions flatline, thus no new views, thus no new subscribers, thus the subscribers don't watch the videos. Obviously, after watching this repeat for long enough, a lot of people who don't spreadsheet for fun would get frustrated and ask this question primarily due to an inability to articulate their experience to YouTube. They see the awareness, the subscriber count and impressions, and are getting confused why there's so much churn on every video they make. You're unlikely to get this question from a channel that has a 8 to 10, 9 to 10, or maybe even 7 to 10 viewer to subscriber ratio. This question is almost certainly coming from the less than 1 to 10 view to subscriber ratio creators sitting there wondering how they're ever supposed to grow. Be cognizant that this answer, while factually accurate, is effectively telling a struggling creator, it's not our system, your content just isn't good enough. So, the most ambitious, knowing their content is good, tend to go to a different platform and have much less convoluted discoverability systems they need to learn. And before you ask, I don't care about internet points. I'm just here to have fun with moderate to low time investment.
What other factors influence how many people see my videos? There are 3 major factors that explain where your audience is coming from: topic interest, competition, and seasonality. Topic interest is how many people worldwide are interested in and watching videos about a given topic. Some topics have more broad appeal than others, and that appeal can change over time as certain subjects become more or less popular.
Facts.
Google Trends is a tool you can use to see how the world's interest is changing over time. And you can even filter down to YouTube search interest. Just go to trends.google.com.
I see that pitch for your other product there, but I can't blame you, and it's an appropriate shill.
Next, competition. YouTube systems have to sort through and rank all videos a viewer might be most willing to watch. Even if you have great performance and metrics on your video, you may get fewer impressions if videos from other channels or creators are performing even better.
That is literally marketing 101. Moving on.
And finally, seasonality. YouTube traffic can change during different times of the year. Think about your audience, like which country they live in or what's going on in their lives, and expect fluctuations in viewership during major holidays.
Yeah, viewers and subscribers are people, not numbers. I don't think I've met a single content creator that really thinks otherwise. So your other factors is apparently just be a good person and understand basic marketing. Check and check. So everything after this point is just a recap for the most part. So that's really the end of my commentary. But I will reiterate one final time that I don't think any of the concerns in these 3 videos are intentional or malicious on YouTube's end. You should have my email on file. I gave my phone number in the survey I participated in, and obviously you know who made the video since you're watching it on your platform via a link submitted through your YPP feedback system. So let's talk. Until next time, have a good one.